There's two right there. No, you're fine. Oh, we got two more chairs. Thank you, Cal. Cal's been great this morning. Thank you. Right over here. Sit. Okay, so first, thank you. What a beautiful day today. I was a little nervous this morning when the wind was kicking up in Vegas, and gorgeous this morning. So we want to bring out the color guard. So if we can hit that, please. If everyone please rise.
Sacred guard. Stage up.
Would be rolling over if she thought that I ran the state. I'm lucky enough to be the field manager for Red Rock and Sloan, and my boss for the Southern Nevada district is sitting here, is Mary Jo Rugwell, so I do not run the state, but thanks, Bill. Thanks so much for being here today. I think it's important to come together and share the energy and even the grief for people to know that they're not alone out there, that their sons and daughters are not alone, that there's people out there who may not even be members of your family who really, really care about you and the things you're going through. I spent my time in the Marine Corps. I'm very fortunate to be up here talking to you, as some of my friends would never have that opportunity. So let's just really really think about those that we've lost and really know that we are so lucky to be in such a magnificent place coming together to remember them. And Phil, thanks so much for this. Phil's just done an amazing thing. And when he came to me today and he said, you know, this may be the last year that we have to put names on those stones, that would be an amazing thing. I know that we'll probably always meet in some fashion up here for those people that are there. But if we could get to the point where we're not engraving more names on the stones, I think we would all feel a little better. Right now I'd like to introduce Mary Jo Rugwell. She's the Southern Nevada District. She does run half of the state, so thank you all.
Good morning. I'm Mary Jo Rugwell. I'm the district manager for the Bureau of Land Management in Southern Nevada. I have the distinct pleasure of being Tim's boss, and I'd like to say I had the good sense to hire him. So that's the one thing that I can say about myself. We are so privileged to have you here today. We're happy to be able to provide this setting for you. As Tim expressed, it would be wonderful if we never have to add any more names. We are so honored to have you here. It is the sacrifice of your family that has made it possible for us to enjoy places like this. And we're glad that you're here today. And if there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to give a quick thank you to the Patriot Guard. If everyone could notice, we have the Patriot Guard, shows up every year. Stormy, can you wave real quick? Stormy's over there. Stormy, I don't even have to ask. I send an email and Stormy says it's on the calendar. And I don't know if you guys understand, they go to all the funerals as well, the Patriot Guard, and just true Americans. So I just want to just say I really appreciate these guys, and they're just awesome. So I'm going to bring up Major Cabrera from Nellis Air Force Base. We lost, I think it was it 4 or 5 airmen last year in a rescue mission. And I got to meet some of the family members last year for that, and I think some are here this year as well. So I'd like to bring up the Major.
Good morning. I'm Major Jose Cabrera. I'm stationed here at Nellis Air Force Base. And first I would like to thank all of you for being here today and giving me an opportunity to honor our fallen heroes. The group of airmen that I'm here to talk to you about, like every other serviceman and woman out there, they dedicated their lives to the defense of our nation, and eventually they made the ultimate sacrifice. On June 9, 2010, the crew of Pedro 66, an HA-60 rescue helicopter from Nellis Air Force Base here in Las Vegas, was launched on their 3rd mission for the day in southwest Afghanistan to evacuate a critically wounded Marine from a location with heavy insurgent activity. As they approached their location of the wounded Marine, Pedro 66 came under fire and took disabling battle damage. The crew flew the helicopter away from ground forces and the civilian homes in the area, an act of courage that saved many lives before Pedro 66 crashed. Upon impact, 4 airmen lost their lives. Captain Joel C. Gent, 25 years old, of Grass Lake, Michigan, and a combat rescue officer assigned to Nellis Air Force Base. Technical Sergeant Michael P. Flores, 31 years old, of San Antonio, Texas, and a pararescueman assigned to Davis Mountain Air Force Base, Arizona. Staff Sergeant Davis Smith, 26 years old, of 8 Mile, Alabama, and a flight engineer assigned to Nellis Air Force Base. Senior Airman Benjamin D. White, 24 years old, of Irwin, Tennessee, and a pararescueman assigned to Davis Mountain Air Force Base. Finally, on July 2nd, as a result of injuries suffered in the crash, Captain David A. Wisniewski, a 31-year-old from Mobile, Iowa, an HA-60 pilot assigned to Nellis Air Force Base and the aircraft commander for the mission. I had the honor of knowing this airman, training and fighting with them. In particular, Captain Joel Gantz, who's on the program. I trained and prepared to go to that combat tour myself. So I can't tell you what a great loss that was. And I can't tell you what an honor it was for me to serve with them and to see their dedication to mission and the positive impact they had on everyone they came in touch with. So I can tell you without a doubt that these men live by the Air Force rescue motto, these things we do that others may live. Huya. Thank you.
I'd like to bring up John Cole. John Cole is a Marine as well as a school board trustee. John and I have known each other for years. We live in the same neighborhood. I think it's 10, 12 plus years we've known each other, and I live in the front part of the neighborhood. John would drive by and we'd see him waving all the time, and John always would just stop and say, "What can I do to help? What can I do to help?" Whether it was boxes, care packages, anything, he's always been there. So John's a great Marine, and he's also a great servant to the community. So I'd like to bring up John.
Thank you, Bill. I do appreciate it. Forgive the fact that I have some notes with me, but there are a number of things I want to say, and I think it'll reach all of us. I'm honored as a Marine veteran to be here today. I'm honored as a servant of the community to be here today, to honor the people that represent us not only from our state but from our great country and have given their all to protect us. Some may not consider them heroes, but I do. For as one definition puts it, a hero refers to a person who, in the face of danger and adversity, or from a position of weakness, displays courage and the will for self-sacrifice for some greater good of all humanity. And although each of these men gave their lives in the defense of a principle and displayed personal courage and honor extending beyond their own lives, we need to understand and relate to the fact that in their dying, we lucky ones continue on. We honor them as the heroes they are to us. Though we may not have known them personally, we understand that their sacrifices were in the duty to their country, perhaps the protection of their fellow soldiers, but certainly to the benefit of us all. As Bob Dylan so aptly put it, a hero is someone who defends the responsibility that comes with his freedom. None of these men that died in the service of their country or in the protection of us ever misunderstood that responsibility. They say a hero never really knows they've become a hero, but maybe it's better that way, for it allows us left behind the honor of understanding better who they are and reflecting on the moment in their lives that they became immortal to us. And although we all wish they could still be with us, we honor their lives, their duty, and we will never forget them. And for the mothers of these fallen heroes, those of us that have been in the services to our country, we understand the relationship, the very special relationship that service people have with their moms. Please know, to those of you here today with sons that have fallen, that our admiration and appreciation of your sacrifice are tempered only by deep condolences of your loss. For although we may not be able to completely relate to that loss, we can understand the deep and unique relationship a mother can have with her son. The former astronaut Wally Schirra put it wonderfully well when he said, "You don't raise heroes, you raise sons, and if you treat them like sons, they become heroes, if even in your own eyes." To the mothers of these fallen heroes, please know that all of us here today see through your eyes the heroes that you've lost. Please know that they are not gone, but will always be with you, whether it be through a gentle breeze brushing against your arm, which reminds you of when they were younger and came running up to you to grab that arm, or whether it's a daydream of them playing in your backyard, or whether it's a familiar song or sound that reminds you of them. They will always be with you, and through those examples, you will know they're watching over you and protecting you. And finally, to those of us left to carry on, whether we knew them or not, we owe them our debt, our love, and our gratitude. But we may also owe them one more thing, and I believe this is very important. For as they become an example of heroism to their family, their friends, and their community, that should not stop us from the opportunity for us to serve our fellow man better. Stories of heroism may serve as a moral example for all of us. Arthur Ashe once stated, "True heroism is remarkably sober and very undramatic. It's not the urge to surpass all others at whatever cost, but the urge to serve others at whatever cost." This very example of these heroes we honor today is a bright, shining light for all of us to do just that. And therefore, I would ask that each of us take this opportunity to reflect on the sacrifice of these men we honor today. Not to just remember that they gave their all in defense of each of us, but that they also gave us examples of how to serve our fellow men. I would ask that each of us not leave here today without thinking of some examples that we ourselves can do to help our communities, whether it be serving some time at a local soup kitchen, volunteering to help veterans in need, or simply reading a story to some kids in first grade at your local elementary school. In his first inaugural in 1981, Ronald Reagan so aptly stated, "Those that say that we're in a time that there are no heroes just don't know where to look." So let us pick up that charge in honor of those we honor today. Let us honor these men and those before them by becoming heroes in our own rights and serving those of us around us. Let us fill this community with heroes and never have to wonder where they're at or why there are none. That, ladies and gentlemen, may be the truest and most genuine form of how we can remember and honor those we are here today to honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. I want to bring up Jack Finn. Did I pronounce that right? Okay. He is from Senator Heller's office. Senator Heller was here last year, and I think he's out doing... He's in Northern Nevada. He's out doing Northern Nevada today. So he's great. I've known Dean for a long time, and he loves his veterans. And I know in talking to the Erlinger family that he was there. I think he spent the entire day with the family at Arlington National Cemetery. And from what I understand, it was hot, muggy, and he was there in his suit. And he walked with you guys the entire time. So just because he's not here doesn't mean that he doesn't care about these families, because I know personally he does. So I'm going to bring up Jack, and I just met Jack this morning. I'm sure he's a good guy. Right, Jack? Okay, all right, so here's Jack.
Thank you, thank you. Well, it's an honor to stand before you and to represent Senator Heller, and I have a short letter from the Senator I'd like to read. Dear families and friends, this year we come together to honor 5 sons of Nevada, heroes all, who courageously answered the call to duty and sacrificed their lives in defense of our freedom and for the nation they loved. Their names will join those of their comrades who have been memorialized in this beautiful place of solace and grandeur. I am deeply saddened by the loss of this Marine and these 4 soldiers, but I'm also profoundly grateful for their valor, their patriotism, and their service. As the names of Sergeant Ken Hermogino, Specialist Douglas Green, Specialist Dennis James Jr., Sergeant Timothy Sane, and Corporal John Luke Bateman are indelibly etched in history, I would like to offer my deepest respect and admiration to the families of those fallen heroes for the unimaginable pain they have suffered and for the sacrifices they too have made for this great nation of ours. May this memorial continue to be a source of peace and comfort, and may the memories of America's heroes live forever in the hearts of those for whom they gave so much. To these men, and to all the men and women who have selflessly given their lives for our freedom and our security, I offer my prayers and my eternal gratitude. God bless them, and God bless America. Sincerely, United States Senator Dean Heller. Thank you.
Okay, is Bob Sharp here? Was Bob able to make it? No, okay, so he came in Bob's place. Bob is, remember we were looking for Bob last year? Does anyone remember that? A few of you remember. Bob's a great guy. He has a Marine who is not on the program because Bob called me yesterday at around 4 o'clock. Otherwise, I would have added him to the program. So, Marcus Subaro is here, and he is a veteran of both Afghanistan and Iraq, correct? Just Iraq, okay. Just Iraq. So I'm going to bring him up, and he is with Senator Reed's office. And Senator Reed is out of town? Yes. He's out of town. Okay. I'm sorry. He's been out of town for 7 years. Did I hear someone say that? Oh, I'm sorry. Is he here? Okay. All right. So I have to put a few digs into politicians on both sides of the aisle. So I want to bring up a Marine who's in his place, so thank you very much. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Marco Ibarra, Staff Assistant in Senator Reed's office, and he has been here for 7 years. I would also like to add that the Senator does care about our veterans, and he does hire veterans. We have 3 here in the office in Las Vegas. I'm going to read a prepared statement by the Senator, and I'm also very grateful to be here representing him. Dear friends, I would like to express my deepest sorrow for the loss of your family members, relatives, and loved ones. Please know that my thoughts are with you. I would like to say that the honor, bravery, and dedication demonstrated by our soldiers remains as one of our nation's greatest strengths. It is the American spirit depicted by the integrity of our brave men and women that continues to keep the United States strong and revered by other countries around the world. There's nothing to ease the pain of losing a loved one. Their ultimate sacrifice was given so that we can continue to receive the freedoms we hold so dear. The lives given in honor of the United States and Nevada will forever be with me, and I will cherish them forever. My best wishes. Sincerely, Senator Harry Reid. Thank you.
And thank you for your service, by the way, too. And I'm a equal opportunity hazer when it comes to politicians. So is the former Senator Ensign here in bike shorts? Okay, just checking. Just checking. Okay, I just had to get the other side of the in there. It's still in my head. I can't get that image out of my head. You guys too? Yeah, you guys had the back side of it, which was a little, well, the front side was pretty bad too. I want to introduce, I don't think I need to introduce her, Congresswoman Shelley Berkley. She's not wearing bike shorts. She would look better in bike shorts than the senator would, the former senator. I'm not sure what we call him anymore. So Shelley is awesome. I mean, she has been here since the opening of 2005, and she is just a lovely person. I mean, you can't not but love Shelley when you see her and she's in front of you. She has this infectious smile, and like she has right now. And she pulled up this morning waving. I didn't see her coming because she was in a hybrid. She almost ran over me. It was so quiet. I'm not sure if that was on purpose. No. So I want to bring up the Congresswoman, and again, thank you, Shelley.
Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to again be with you as we rededicate this magnificent memorial to Nevada's war dead. I would be remiss if I did not thank Phil for the extraordinary work that he has done on behalf of all of us. Sometimes when you say one person makes a difference, we poo-poo that phrase. But in this instance, one person made the difference. It was his concern and his love and his tenacity that made this day and that memorial and all 7 dedications possible. And on behalf of the 800,000 people that I represent in Southern Nevada, in our nation's capital, I want to thank you on behalf of the fallen, their families, and the hundreds of thousands of people that call Nevada, Southern Nevada, home. My father signed up to join the Navy in World War II. He wasn't yet old enough. He lied about his age because he wanted to go and fight for this nation. My husband was in the Army for 9.5 years as a doctor treating the wounded at Brooks Army Medical in Texas. Our family knows about the sacrifices that have been made generation after generation in this nation. My family, those that served, came home. My dad's 87. He's still with us. My husband in his 60s is still a doctor. But I know there have been millions of our fellow citizens since the beginning of this nation's founding that have answered the call selflessly and without concern to their personal safety, and have gone off many times to foreign lands to protect us. How extraordinary is it, knowing the risks surrounding their service, yet year after year, war after war, generation after generation, they answer this call. It's a privilege for me to be here to pay tribute to our Nevada war dead who served this nation in Iraq and Afghanistan, to rededicate this memorial and give us an opportunity to once again look at the names on those beautiful rocks, and to pay tribute to the 5 new names that will be etched into the foundation of those rocks as a living testament to the fact they were here, they served, they died, and we will never forget their sacrifice for all of us. For the families that are here, the moms and the dads, the wives, the husbands, the loved ones, and the friends, we join together collectively as American citizens to pay tribute and homage to these remarkable people. I wanted to punctuate something that the Major said when he talked about that helicopter going down. If you don't mind, Major, whenever I get a call from the military that one of our Nevada men, boys mostly, are at Bethesda or Walter Reed, I try to get over there, meet with the families, and meet with our wounded. Some don't survive. I want to tell you a very quick story about David, the last person you mentioned. I went to Bethesda Naval to meet with his family. Wonderful parents from Iowa, salt of the earth, America's very best. We were sitting there talking about David. They had the most difficult decision that any parent has to make, and that's whether or not to take their son off of life support. I spoke with them at length, and then they said to me, "Would you like to meet David?" I said, "Yes, I'd be honored." We walked into the hospital room, and there was this very handsome young man lying in the bed. His 23-year-old fiancée from North Las Vegas sitting by his side. Parents agonized over what to do. Doctors said there was absolutely no hope. I asked them if there was anything I could do for them. They said, just pray for our David. 2 days later, I received a call. They had decided to remove him from life support, and within minutes, he slipped away. There are thousands and thousands of families across our nation, and many in the state of Nevada, who suffer the pain of this loss day in and day out. We go on with our lives. We have no choice. But on a day like today, where we can come together, Republican, Democrats, Americans all, to thank the families for the ultimate sacrifice they have made on behalf of all of us. I thank you all for being here, everyone with individual thoughts in their minds. For those who have lost a loved one, I share this pain with you, and I thank you for giving us your most precious, precious possession. And to Phil, I thank you again for making this day possible. I think we all appreciate it very, very much. And may God continue to bless all of us, our fallen, and continue to bless the United States of America.
And I also want to recognize Jesse from Hotchkiss. Can you wave? Can you wave, Jesse? Can everyone see Jesse? Jesse, can you wave? She's waving. Okay, she's great. She's kind of my point of contact over there, and she's always extremely helpful, and so I want to appreciate that. And she has a fiance serving in Afghanistan. He's a pilot, correct? Well, thank you for him. And get us his APO address. We have some Girl Scout cookies for him. We really do. Yeah, we have some Girl Scout cookies for him. I want to bring up, I like to call him Colonel Joe Heck. Am I allowed to call you Colonel Joe Heck? Call him whatever I want. Joe and I have known each other for years. He has been here every year that he has not been overseas. I think he served a couple tours, correct? One tour? One tour since this war started, and I believe one before that. So getting back to Doug Green, when I had heard about Doug and the family had called me and they were trying to get some issues done and they were just kind of confused, I made 2 phone calls. One was to I believe he just got appointed his 3rd star. His name is General Bob Brown. I think he was up in front of Congress in the Senate to get appointed for his 3rd star. And immediately following that, I called was Joe. And Joe was on it. I mean, he was on it. I mean, he had calls and had talked to Arlington, and he had helped a very, very difficult situation and worked with the family. So, and Joe's been a colonel in the Army. How long you been? 22 years. He enrolled when he was 12. He looks very young. Looks younger than me. So Joe's been great. He's been great with all the families. I know he's helped out quite a few. And so we want to thank Joe, first off, for his service, for 22 years of service first. And then thank Joe for his service, both as a state senator and then also as a U.S. congressman. So let's bring up Joe.
Thanks, Phil. Likewise, I want to thank all of you for taking the time to be here today. As Phil mentioned, I've been to all except the one when I was deployed to Iraq, and as I look out through the crowd, I see a lot of the same faces that have been here every year since this started. I think we're, in a way, somewhat fortunate in Nevada. Across the country, we have 3 real holidays where we remember those who serve in uniform. Memorial Day, when we recognize and honor all our war dead. Gold Star Mother's Day, the last Sunday in September, when we recognize Gold Star moms. and then Veterans Day when we honor our veterans. But here in Nevada, we have a special day when we remember and honor our Nevada fallen. And I think that's something very special for our state. Likewise, I thank Phil for organizing this and being the driving force behind this for so many years. I remember when I was deployed, I got Phil's care packages. And it just is so, words can't describe what it means to get a package from home, especially when it's not coming from your own family, for just people that you know in the community that care and send something over to you. And to be here today to recognize our servicemen and women, wherever they may be serving, our veterans, their families, and our survivors, I think it just brings so much more to what we do in here in Nevada. I remember the phone call I got from Phil after he called me and told me that there were some issues going on between Dover and Arlington. And I was fairly new to Congress. I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I got to figure out something. Fortunately, I have a very experienced military legislative assistant, and so I called him and said, what are we going to do? And I really say that he did all the work, and I get the credit for it, but he was phenomenal in making sure that we had the right people to call to try to help the Erlangers and the Greens through this time of sorrow. And I'll tell you, I was also honored to be at the service, at the funeral. I don't think I've seen more people at a funeral at Arlington than when John F. Kennedy was buried. I mean, it was amazing. The procession went on. It was still going on from the front to the people that reached the gravesite. I don't want to, I've told these stories over and over again about my time taking care of our veterans and our wounded warriors. I want to be brief this morning. Interesting for a politician to be brief. But also I want to apologize because I'm on reserve duty this weekend. The good thing about being the commander is I could authorize myself at the late reporting time. So from here, I got to go and be at the Reserve Center by 12 noon. But I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank you for recognizing and remembering those who have given the ultimate sacrifice that call Nevada home or have ties to Nevada. I want to thank Phil again for all that he does, not just here, but for our service members all across the world, wherever they serve. They know that they have an advocate here back home. I recognize the folks from the USO, which do an incredible job for our men and women as they transit through McCarran Airport. It was a long time coming, but we finally got it. And for all of you, again, my thanks. May God continue to bless our men and women in uniform wherever they may serve. May He continue to hold their families close to His bosom and protect them. May He watch over our veterans and our survivors. Thank you.
Don't be late, Joe. You have to punish yourself, Commander. And I do want to have Doug Bradford from the USO just stand up real quick. He's another call I always make, and sometimes I apologize for calling people asking for stuff. It's usually not for myself, but when I call, I usually ask for stuff, and Doug has been great with that, as well as everyone up here is great. So I don't want to take the credit as well. I usually make a phone call, and that's how things get done. I want to bring up the governor, and this is Brian's third time here. The first time here, he was running for governor, and I said, let me get you up here, and he goes, nope, I just want to sit in the back. I want to just enjoy it. This isn't a political thing. So I appreciated that, and so I voted for him because of that. So just really simple things. And then he was here again last year and spoke, and this year. And then also Brian asked me to be on a Veterans Commission for the state, which I was honored to accept, and I had my first meeting. And the veterans have a lot of issues, especially when they're coming back from deployment. Clark County, and I know in northern Nevada it's the same way, they're coming home with either some type of physical injury, post-traumatic stress disorder. They've been away from their families for months and months and months. They're coming home to a house that's underwater. Their job either isn't there or was eliminated, so they're having a hard time getting a job. And so we have some issues with these veterans coming back, and that's kind of part of my mission as well, is to get veterans jobs, and that usually solves a lot of problems. I mean, there's a lot of other things going on, and I'm not trying to pretend like I know what it's like to be gone from my family for a year, 15 months, 7 months, and then try to reintegrate and come back, because I can't imagine what that would be like. But it's a rough time for them, and I know Brian's been working hard to bring in other businesses. I know I've been informed of veterans job fairs that are going on. So if you're a business owner out there, and you see a veteran on that list, bring them in, get them an interview. I mean, I've had veterans work for me in the past, and they are the best employees. When I lose one, when they get promoted and they go do something else, they are phenomenal. They show up on time. They're organized. I got here at 8, thought I was here early. The Marines had already been practicing with the color guards before I got here. So they're phenomenal people. So I know Brian's aware of these issues. He's working on these issues. So whatever I can do, and I'm sure there's a lot of people here that would love to help, would do that. So I'd like to bring up the governor.
Phil, and it's a real privilege and honor to be able to be here today. As I sat there and listened to the wonderful remarks from each of the speakers, also eloquent, and I thought about the majesty of Red Rock and couldn't think of a better place than to have this memorial here, because I think it is appropriate. I want to thank Phil for the opportunity and invitation to be here today. And Congresswoman Berkeley said some wonderful things about Phil, and it reminded me of a plaque that I have on my desk. And on this plaque it says, "I'm only one, but I am one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. And what I can do, I ought to do. And what I ought to do, by the grace of God, I will do." And I think, Phil, you are the epitome of that for everything that you do for the veterans and the Gold Star families and the Blue Star families and everyone associated with the military. My heartfelt thanks on behalf of the people of the state of Nevada go to you, Phil. Thank you. And I do want to take this opportunity to thank our friends from the great state of Hawaii for this beautiful lei. This is something that I will treasure and take home and show to my family. Thank you very much. As I thought about what I was going to talk about today, a lot of different things went through my head. And one personal story that I want to share with you is about my grandfather, who served in the United States Army. And he has passed away for several years. I talked to my mom about him. And he never talked about his military service. And I really wanted to know his history. His name was Major Eddie Gallegos. And come to find out, after we'd done the research, that he had served in the South Pacific, and he had earned several medals for bravery. And I've always been proud of my grandpa, and I've always been proud of the military, but I told my mom about that, and she cried and cried, because here she was, his daughter, and she had never known, and he was so proud and kept that to himself. Now, as governor, I've always had a profound respect and appreciation for the men and women that serve in the military. And since the last time that I was here last year, last year we'd been able to make that announcement about the killing of Osama bin Laden, and now the announcement of the withdrawal from Iraq and the further withdrawal from Afghanistan. But probably the highlight of my service as governor was to have the privilege and honor to go over to Kuwait and Afghanistan and Iraq and visit the men and women who serve in the Nevada National Guard and our other soldiers, and to see it for myself. And I was at an FOB in a place called Kunduz, Afghanistan, and I had an opportunity to meet 3 Nevadans, and one young man was a 19-year-old young man from Dayton, Nevada. And I don't know if any of you have been to Dayton. It's a wonderful community, a small community. I mean, he didn't look a day over 14. And he was there in full gear, and I had an opportunity to eat lunch with him and talk to him and ask him, and why are you serving? Why are you here? You're in this remote place halfway across the world. And he just said, I looked at what was going on, and I felt that I needed to do something. I wanted to serve my country, and now I'm getting the opportunity to do that. And I've never seen something so sincere when that came from him. And as I see all the Gold Star families and friends, and how much pain that you go through, and I feel like I can never do enough to show my appreciation and gratitude for the sons and daughters that have served our country and made the ultimate sacrifice. And as governor, I have the great privilege of traveling throughout this state. And I can tell you without exception, and if I'm in a place like Belmont, Nevada, or Tonopah, or Beatty, or Sparks, or Las Vegas, everywhere I go, the people of the state of Nevada are so appreciative of the service of the men and women of our military and what they do for us. I cannot tell you, when I mention that, and I do talk about it in every speech that I give, it's a standing ovation. The people appreciate and respect those ultimate sacrifices that have been made. Now, Congressman Heck talked about all the things that we can do for our veterans now. And Phil talked a little bit about it as well. And I know as governor, that little plaque on my desk, I do have the ability to do things. So we had an event called Home Means Nevada, and we made sure that the veterans had preference for that with regard to their mortgages. We make sure with job retraining that the veterans get preference. Now I'm holding in my hand today, and it's not a speech, this is an executive order. And recently I was at the White House with Kathleen Sandoval, the First Lady, and she had met with the other First Ladies across the country, as well with Michelle Obama, the First Lady of the United States. And one of their programs that they're promoting is for military spouses. And one of the difficulties with the men and women in their military and their spouses is as they get transferred and moved around, and if their wife or husband is a professional and they come into a state, and it's very difficult for them to get employment because of the licensure structure. So what I'm going to be signing today is an executive order that provides that military families will have priority, and that we are going to seek legislation that will require reciprocity for the men and women that are associated with our military, so that when they come to the state of Nevada, they're going to continue to be welcomed with open arms and have an opportunity for employment, and give those families the ability to put their roots in our state, because we want them here. We are very proud of the fact that we have all of you here, and we want you to stay here. Thank you. So again, on behalf of the people of the great state of Nevada, to those of our Gold Star families, again, my heartfelt gratitude and condolences for everything that you've had to go through. Our thanks for the service of your daughters and sons. For those of you that are our veterans, for everything that you've done and putting yourselves on the line for all of us, that we can stand here today and express ourselves the way we can, any way we like, and live our lives with freedom. For those of you that are in the active service of the military, again, thank you for your service. The Freedom Riders, everybody here that is here to support the men and women of our military. God bless all of you. God bless the men and women of our military. God bless the great state of Nevada. And God bless the United States of America, the greatest nation on earth. Thank you very much.
Soldiers or Marines who are on the back of that, who were not killed in action, but they did pass away, and so we want to recognize them for their sacrifice and their service as well. And some things I just can't understand, and kind of ask and go, why? And that was one of them. That was one of them. So I just wanted to acknowledge those and think about them and their families. A lot of them had families. I know Brian was going to have an event here in town, a family event for veterans, and he ended up, and we had the event, and he was doing a funeral up there, and so he was extremely busy with that. So I want to bring up Colonel Tom, and Colonel Tom have known each other for a while, and we've been to a few Marine Corps balls together. We've shared a few cocktails. Libation, is that what you call it? Frank's? Drinks. We had some drinks together. And Colonel Tom, I'll
to our state leadership and our congressional leadership, you throw me up here and you expect me to come up with something new after they have already taken the wind out of my sails. They have talked about everything I had planned to talk to the families and friends of those that we are honoring today. So you got to ask yourself, Colonel, do you have a plan B? Matter of fact, I do. First of all, for those of you that are in the audience that know me, you know I am not, and never will be, an eloquent speaker. I am nothing more than a retired Marine of 31 years. And sometimes I have a tendency to speak in that vernacular. For those of you that are new here today, especially about the families I'm talking about that have made your annual trek, and for those, once again, for the first time here, this is a very, very sacred event. Nothing like it, really, certainly in the state of Nevada, and I can tell you and testify there are very few events like this throughout the United States. Having said that, if you were here 2 years ago, and I had the opportunity to stand up here while the wind coming down from these beautiful rocks were swaying everybody in this audience, I told the audience right up front that, geez, I need some inspiration before I talk to the families and friends of those that we are honoring here today. So the day before I came out here, met a few young kids that didn't really understand what was going on, so I took the time to explain to them what was going on. And I sat there and started looking at the names on the monument rocks. And what happened, you will not believe, but what happened 2 years ago was a result of that little visit I had the day before. This year, I said, okay, Tom, I'm honored to be here again. I'm honored to stand before the families of those that we recognize today. But you know what? You need that inspiration again. So yesterday, when the wind was blowing, I came out before dawn and did one of those to-bow things. And sat down, I said, what am I going to talk about? Well, if those of you were here 2 years ago, you remember that I mustered every single person that was in this monument behind me. They were in formation, standing right behind me, locking it up at attention while I spoke. Well, this year, I talked to them again, and guess what? They said, Colonel, we'd rather not do that this year. We'd rather sit and stand with our families while all of you that are talking about us are doing so. So here's what I offer all of you that are here, family and friends. If you can feel something on your shoulder, if you can feel somebody holding your hand, or if there's an arm around you right now that you can't see, I can guarantee you it is those that we are honoring here today. They wanted to be in the audience with you, and that's where they are right now. Can you feel them? Can you see them? I can. So, I said, what do you want me to talk about, guys? I said, Colonel, you've been wounded 4 times in combat. You've been fried twice, shot once, and stabbed once. You kind of know where we're coming from on this stuff. But something we'd like you to take to the table today, we want you to talk a little bit about this hero stuff. All the families know we're heroes. So I said, well, that's a tough nut to crack, but you know what? I'll try it. Well, and since they're in the audience right now listening to me, got a little something here that I scratched last night as a result of that conversation that I had with them. So please bear with me. We, notice I said we call it a hero explained by heroes. Talking about me now. And here's some folks, I guess, that I kind of got together, no names associated with this, but these are how these service members feel. But you tell me if they fall into this category. A hero is a man or a woman that does what they can when others cannot seem to, but might want to. The courage to perform special functions in combat that others choose not to do is heroic. If you ask many people what their theory of a hero is, most will not mention those military people who paid the ultimate sacrifice in a combat or difficult times, nor will they mention a policeman or fireman who saved the life of a mother or child. Are they wrong? Heroes are people who possess extraordinary traits of altruism or selfless concern for the well-being of others around them, even at the expense of their own safety or existence. The hero is ultimately subject to death just as any mortal is, which seems all the more tragic because they have lived an astonishing life and have contributed so much to the world. Although many that benefit from their sacrifice forget to remember that so easily. We talked about this yesterday, and as a result, they said, Colonel, why don't you share your ideas and philosophy about being a hero? I said, okay, well, I generally have three different levels of heroes. The first level of hero, in my opinion, is that man or woman who chooses to voluntarily put on the uniform of the United States of America. I don't care if it's Marine Corps, Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard. That takes courage, and that's heroic. You may not understand that if you've never served in the military. And I'm not talking about being thrown in harm's way at this particular time. That's my first level of heroics. The second level is that level where you may be thrown in harm's way as a result of a police action, a war, or something that just makes it dangerous and you could potentially lose your life. And as a result, if you don't lose your life and you do something very heroic and you save somebody else's life or lives of others or help somebody, that is the second level of heroism, in my opinion. The last level of heroism that I'd like to talk about, that those that we are honoring today are a little skittish about, and would rather not talk about it, are those that paid the ultimate sacrifice in a combat scenario. Now, we lose service members all year long in non-combat environments as a result of accidents. I don't believe that that necessarily makes them a hero, but I give them the utmost credit for serving their country. In this case, we are here to honor, in my opinion, what I consider to be a hero. And we've got 79 of them on the rocks, and pray to God that we don't have any more. And I hope those of you that are feeling that touch that I talked about still feel it, because after this is all gone, they're going to all muster together, and they're going to talk about what a great day it's been, and thank everybody for coming out. And that's exactly what I'd like to do. Phil, you're going to get tired of it, but thank you again. Thank you all.
Thank you, Tom. So what I'd like to do now is just kind of open it up if anyone would like to come up and say a few words. I know there should be someone. Oh.
Phil and Jennifer, for all that you do for all of the Gold Star, Blue Star families. I wrote a speech. I can't read it and hold the microphone at the same time, and I couldn't memorize it. I'm sorry. It's 2012, and time once again to gather together to remember and honor our heroes. Sadly, more names have been added to this memorial. My son, Lance Corporal Bud Michael Cote, was killed in Iraq December 11, 2006. It really doesn't matter how he died. It matters how he lived and why he died. Bud was a very proud Marine, and I remember the day he told me he earned the title. He meant the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, and he meant it with pride. I realized he had achieved a goal he set for himself. It was a level of manhood he was searching for. He was proud of himself. How many parents these days get to see their kids achieve the goals they set for themselves? Not many. Bud was a different person after that day. There was no more uncertainty, fear, or doubt in himself. The evening after Bud's funeral, an old friend of mine approached me to console me, and I looked him in the eye and I said, you know, I did my very best to be a good mom. I followed all the rules, taught him right from wrong. I always tried to keep him safe, but I didn't try to talk him out of going in the Marine Corps. That was the only request my son made of me. He said, Ma, just stand beside me, trust me, and be proud. Of course I already was. My son said to me, sounds like you stopped taking care of him, and he started taking care of you a long time ago. I will always remember those words and how they ring so true looking back. In Bud's heart, he did the right thing for him, for our country, and our family. Sorry, this is a mess. So on days like today, when we have the opportunity to tell our sons and daughters stories, I stand here with a heavy heart because I miss him so much, but a proudness that I know each Gold Star family feels. There isn't a pain more intense or debilitating than losing your child. It really is life-changing. It's a reality I will never get over, nor will you. And shame on those who think we should. We'll always remember the good times and the sadness that came with that knock on the door that fateful day. To all the veterans who come here today to pay tribute to our fallen family members, thank you for honoring their service, their sacrifice, and for helping us keep their memories alive. It's my honor to be surrounded by so many American patriots. Thank you.
Wow, this is on. The sound guy is doing a great job. My name is Sergeant Robert Deal. I'm with the Nevada Army National Guard. I actually just got back to the 422nd Signal Battalion out of Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm glad to be home and not getting shot at anymore. All the veterans agree, right? Although, unfortunately, we are winning the war in Afghanistan. It's actually more dangerous to live in Nevada than it actually is to live in Kandahar Airfield, Afghanistan. It's actually statistically true. I want to mention three things briefly because this is not about me today. Number one, Governor Sandoval, you came to see me in Afghanistan when I was there. He did it. I saw it. I'm in a picture with him. He gave us all a coin. They gathered us up quickly and they said, the governor's here. And they put us in a big truck and took us to an undisclosed location. He had some cool guys with body armor around him when we came in. And so thank you, Governor, for coming to see us. I mean, that's amazing. For your governor to come and see you while you're serving is huge. The second thing, right before I left for Afghanistan, the biggest sacrifice was my wife. I love her, but she's an adult and she can take care of herself. Leaving my little boy was tough. One of the worst things when I was there is just being physically disconnected from him, not be able to wrap my arms around him. All the veterans here, you've experienced it. It's believe it or not, being in harm's way is not the scariest part. It's not the worst part. The worst part is being physically disconnected from your family. And that's bizarre, but true. Anyway, right before we left, my little boy was looking at my uniform, and I have the American flag on my right shoulder. And he said, Daddy, I love your Miracle flag. And I said, I thought about correcting him. I thought, well, that's appropriate, right? And so he told me later on that afternoon, he said, Dad, your Miracle flag is going to protect you when you go to Afghanistan. So I hardly can speak after saying that. But the last thing that I had to say was the true heroes here today are actually the families, in my opinion. Because I got to see my little boy more than a lot of folks did because of where I was. It was well developed, and we did have access to video chatting. So I was able to see my boy at least every couple of days while I was cleaning my weapon or getting ready to eat breakfast. And my wife would even take the laptop into the bathroom, and while he was taking a bath, I could watch him take a bath. And so that made it tolerable. And I know a lot of the veterans here never got to experience that, and I'm sorry. It made it doable. But my family standing behind me and seeing my little boy on the camera tell me that he loved me and everything was going to be okay and to come home safe, that's what made me be able to do my mission. It made me be able to keep focused on what was going on and protect the guys and the girls to my left and right. So The families actually having that support structure here and telling you that you're going to be fine and that they're okay, not to worry about them, it helps you succeed at your mission every day. I just want to make sure that you guys realize that the families here are heroes too, because they help us accomplish our mission. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Doug Bradford, and I'm the director of the USO at McCarran Airport. I just wanted to say that in the past 14 months, we've proudly served over 45,000 military members and their families. I'm not a speech maker either. I've got a speech here. I work behind the scenes. That's what I like to do, is really get down and dirty and serve our troops as best we can. Now, our focus at the USO really is on active duty personnel and their families, but we have a saying at the USO. Once you sign those papers, you go to boot camp and you serve your country, and either you retire or you become a veteran, you serve your time. You're always a warrior, and you're part of our family forever. So my family served our country since World War II. My brother and I served during peacetime, and I'm proud to say that my son is leaving here in September with Special Forces in the Navy. So the family tradition goes way, way back, and there's always that unspoken understanding that you might not come back. And we've talked about it, my son and I, and it's a difficult thing during wartime. But you're serving your country, and potentially you will come back, and you will survive. We have many, many heroes across the country that are buried in cemeteries all over this great. See, I told you I'm not a speech maker. But you know, they've got final resting places here in the United States, here on foreign soil. You know, there's just it's just an incredible thing. I never met four of the gentlemen that are going to be on the stone, and I actually never met Doug Green, but I did get a chance to meet Suni and Don Erlinger. And it was because we have a program at the USO called the Families of the Fallen. And when we get a call from Dover that there is someone coming our way, we reach out to the families and we try to help them during this most difficult time. We help them with airline tickets, we help them get baggage on, we help them get upgrades to first class if at all possible. We try to make that situation much easier for them because they're not really thinking about travel arrangements. They're just thinking about the day and trying to survive that particular day. But it's not that we just help the Erlangers or the other half a dozen families that we've assisted with the Families of the Fallen program. We also have an opportunity to help the Family of the Fallen Committee get an understanding of what it's like to connect with one another in a way which really defies description and defies any kind of interpretation. There's an everlasting bond that links our lives together. And it is well, it's something that I'm honored to have this everlasting memory with the Erlangers, because I do think about them quite often. They've become a part of my heart. Most days I'm reluctant to open my email because I get Department of Defense casualty reports. And I pray to God that none of them are from Nevada. And the valor and the sacrifice of the men and the women in the United States military, the greatest fighting force that mankind has ever known. Well, the USO has been serving our troops for 71 years. It is our privilege, our duty, our honor to support the nearly 2.5 million men and women currently serving in our armed forces. For the generations who have served before us and who have made sacrifices, including the ultimate one, they should be remembered by us every day. Their lives mattered, and they still do today. God bless our troops, our fallen heroes, our military families, our Blue Star, Gold Star families, our Gold Star wives, and God bless this great country of ours. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Phil. My name is Barry Keller. I tend to have a lot of different titles. One of the most undertaking I've got going on right now is for our Assembly District 5 Republican. But most importantly, I'm here as a citizen of the United States and that of Nevada. In brief, one of the leaders of scouting many years ago, General Baden-Powell, when he asked what should be up on his tombstone or his marker, he said quite simply in Latin,
See requirus momentum circumspice. What that means is if you require a monument, look around you. All of us are living memorials to those who have fallen. As long as we keep those people in our hearts, they will forever live. The name on stones is just a reminder, but those of us around, we are the memorials. I'm glad to be a part of this service. Thank you.
Okay, I want to thank everyone in this audience. And first of all, I want to tell you about how far we've come. I'm a widow. I was made a widow when I was 30 years old because of Vietnam. My husband volunteered not only for Korea, but he volunteered for Vietnam, and he did not come home. And there was not this support at that time. My children were shunned. I was neglected. There were 3 veterans organizations in the small town in Oregon where I lived. Not one organization asked me to join, offered a helping hand, or came forward. I am so proud of our nation that we have decided and recognize the heroism not only of those who volunteer, but of the families that survive. And so on behalf of the Vietnam veterans, I think some of them are up there, the Korean veterans, every veteran, but I do want to thank our state of Nevada for welcoming, honoring, and making the life of the survivors just a bit easier. Thank you.
Of John Lucas, whose name is engraved on this memorial. I really didn't intend to stand up and talk today because that's, anyway, very painful memory, what is coming back. He wasn't the first who died from Nevada, but he was the very first who was buried in a Veterans Memorial Cemetery in Boulder City. At that time, we had really lots of Marines around us. We didn't know any organization who will support us. Then one day, some dream came to my mind. I said, in Nevada, we don't have any memorial for the fallen heroes. So then I wrote a letter to Senator John Ensign, who, thanks God, listened for my prayers, for my dream. He right away answered for my letter and sent his helper, Sonia Hoya, and she's also here between us. And I am really very, very thankful for them. Sure, on big part was on my side, Phil Randazzo, because during those communication and a letter and a phone calls and a crying and everything, they asked me, how you will pay for this? And I said, oh my gosh, these are national heroes, and we have to pay for this? We already paid a big price for the sacrifice what they made for our country. So then Phil was really very grateful, and then I am grateful to him. He helped me to make this memorial possible. And also, I just came out because I wanted to make a little correction about Senator John Ensign. If that's not him, we don't have this memorial here. And I am really very thankful for him. And thank you for Phil also. Thank you so much.
Senator. Hi, my name is Yolanda Sullivan. My son's name is Sergeant William Sullivan Patrick II. He is an Army. I'm not going to speak about this. Well, my son, he passed away in 3 years. Now his third legacy is anniversary today. So, I don't know how to say this. I'm a 50-50 chance to come over here because I have a hard time to have a ride, but I'm glad I'm here. Today is his anniversary for him and my soul, whatever he is. I know he's watching up. I know he's proud of
for coming out today and honoring these 5 families. Okay. Just want to say a quick few things to, can Linda Garrison please stand up? Linda has helped me for the last 7 years, helping me put this on, and she's been in communications. Is Vito here as well? Where's Vito? Vito? He's somewhere. So for lunch. Okay, Vito has been phenomenal. I know a lot of the families know Vito. And I already talked about Stormy. And is Doc here? Doc Moss? Carson City today, okay. And Yvette? Can you wave? Yvette Weingold? And is Cheryl Gardner here? No, she's not here. Sheree? Is Sheree Peterson here? Oh, you were just waving. And we already talked about Doug. And then Derek Yoro. Can you wave, please, Derek? Derek is a Army veteran, and he has been out here filming for us. And he has a son, actually, who's in the hospital right now, whose appendix burst. And I told him, I said, you do not have to be here. His son had 2 surgeries. And so I want to thank Derek. He said this is important. And he's the one that edits and puts together those DVDs for the family. So I just want to say thank you to Derek. And also for, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Sean? How do you pronounce Sean? Sean. Sean, our sound guy, who's been out here for the last couple. And then also, is it Lana? Lana, who took some amazing pictures last year. And then also you'll share those with the families again this year. Awesome. So thank you. I just want to thank everyone again. And if I could get a few volunteers, because we're running a little bit behind today, to maybe